Hello there. In today's video, I'm going to discuss the role of the top management in an ISO project, be that any management system 9,000, 14,000, 45,000, 27,001. So, by the end of this video, what you will learn is what are the key areas that the management need to focus during the implementation of a ISO project or after the implementation when the company got certified and they are maintaining the system. What are the key processes that they own or they should be focusing upon? So let me introduce myself. My name is Arshad Hashmi, and I'm the principal consultant at Core System Consultant with more than 30 years of experience in this field of international standards and certifications. I have provided consulting, training, and auditing services to almost all the industrial sectors across the globe. So that's a brief about myself. And now let's get started. So, top management has a key role to play in an ISO implementation project, and their key activities start from getting themselves equipped with the right knowledge about that particular standard so that they can take informed decisions. The next key step involves the assigning the people who will be working on this project. Now, that can be a one person who maybe awarded the delegated the responsibility and authority to implement this particular standard, or it can be group of people which can be focal person from each department or each division depending upon the structure and size of your organization. The next key step is to ensure that that group of people or that person who have been assigned this responsibility to implement the standard must get the required knowledge. Again, that's a detailed training about the particular ISO standard, be that 9,000, 14,000, 45,000, whichever the standard that is into consideration for implementation. That awareness training and that knowledge base must be provided to those resources so that they can implement the standard and they can come up with a project plan that how long will it take in implementing this particular standard at their organization. Some of the other key areas that the top management should look into is determining the scope, that which area or which unit or which product line they are taking for certification depending upon the nature of the standard that you are considering to implement. And then they need to also define the policies and they need to set objectives with respect to that particular standard. One of the other areas that top management is required to work upon is to provide their inputs with respect to the risk and issues related to that particular management system. So if they're going for a quality management system, environment management system, health and safety management system, the top level understanding by the top management matters when you are determining the context of the organization and you are establishing the needs and expectations of the interested parties and you are establishing the issues that can impact that particular management system. So at that point, the top management input matters a lot, and top management needs to make sure that to share their inputs and to give their inputs with the respective people who are working on the project so that that input can be incorporated, and that's always valuable from the top level. One of the other key areas that the top management should look into is to avoid the delays in the approval of the policies and procedures. Usually, the policies and procedures are written by the respective department heads and the process owners, and they keep on waiting for the approval by the top management. So that mechanism needs to be well defined, that how the policies and procedures will be approved without any undue delay, and the resource and the provision of any resources that may be needed regarding the calibration, regarding any technology, regarding anything that may be needed for that project. That needs to be ensured that the delays from the top management end should not be there. Lastly, the top management is required to review the progress of the project on timely basis. That's very key to the whole project of ISO implementation. The whole team and the company at large should know that the management is supporting the whole uh, project and management is committed about this management system, and in turn management will know how the progress is going about this project and what are the bottlenecks so that they can remove that on timely basis. So now let's talk about the role of the management after certification. So once the company is certified, the management needs to focus on two key areas. One is that their internal audit. So the internal auditors must be trained and their internal audit must be done on a timely basis. So whatever the schedule that they are planning, depending upon the structure of your organization, the internal audit must be done and the internal auditors are trained and they are doing the audit of all the departments and the processes within the scope of certification on timely basis. Once the internal audit is done, that needs to be followed by a management review process, which is the 9.3 clause of the standard. Now, in every ISO management system standard, the 9.3 clause is pretty much well defined, and they define the agenda points that the management needs to discuss or needs to review within the management review process. So those agenda points are related to the needs and expectations of the interested parties, to the changes in legal and regulatory requirements, to the issues that may be quality issues, environmental issues, health and safety issues, information security issues, food safety issues, depending upon the which ISO standard you are taking at your organization for the implementation. So that particular issues needs to be discussed within the management review process. And depending upon again the size of the organization, some organizations may do management review in parts as well. Some of the agenda points is rather than discuss it on a yearly basis, they do it on quarterly basis or half yearly basis as well. So depending upon the size of the organization, depending upon the nature of business that you are in, the management review process is done. But what management needs to make sure that those management reviews must be done regularly, so that they keep on reviewing the performance of the management system. And if the top management just make sure that the one internal audit or whatever the internal audit process is at the organization, that is being done followed by a management review process, the whole system at the organization stays intact and achieve its objective of continual improvement. So I hope this information regarding the role of the top management may be of benefit to you. And I hope the top management also may get the idea that how they should be involved with a project of the ISO implementation during the implementation phase and then after the certification phase. So I thank you so very much for watching this video, and I hope to see you in my next video. Till then, thank you.